Hi everyone. I'm making this video to share a personal update on my healthcare treatment. I want to try to make this understandable, so if you've seen me talk about bits of this, bear with me so you can see and hear the extent of what's been transpiring. So on October 28th, the orthopedic surgeon I have has agreed to replace my artificial left hip. It's clearly in some form of very premature hardware failure. And I'm glad about this. It needs to go. It's well past being helpful to me, and I did what was expected to try to save the hip. It didn't work. That's what's left. And this hip was replaced originally in 2013. There is a new style of artificial hip as well as an upgraded style that can be put in me because of being tall. And what's plagued me for the past, well, now 13 months won't be possible. It simply won't exist with this new style of hip, and it's been explained to me and it makes sense to me, and I agree with it. 4 weeks later, my right knee buckled. It gave out on me, and I went to the hospital 2 days later. I asked for an ultrasound imaging of my right knee. So what an ultrasound imaging will do is check all the ligaments and tendons, basically the structure of the knee, to see if it's okay. And this is less expensive than an MRI, and it's typically more available than a routine MRI. We've done this before with me, and it made sense to me to try again. This occurred a week and a half later, and to the extent that an ultrasound is able to image a hip, it didn't find anything wrong. Now, there are a lot of limitations with this. Ultrasound imaging cannot penetrate bone, so it's not the detailed scan that an MRI gives. But for sort of a first line defense, it's a good use of resources, and it's beneficial to have done. Over the next 4 weeks, my right knee just continued to deteriorate, and some really large swelling that was also quite painful started showing up. I went back to the hospital on January 1st, and this time I went back to ask for an MRI and explain that my right knee is now a problem. I'm not going to be able to get through the physiotherapy for my left hip to be replaced, and we need to get to the bottom of what's actually wrong. The one emergency department doctor that spent the initial 10 minutes with me asked me to wait while he got a second doctor to come, and the two of them would figure out what to do with me. They were thorough. I ended up using about 40 minutes of emergency department doctor time. It was very well spent. The upshot is they think a second tear has formed in the meniscus. So this is the cartilage that lines the two bones when you're taking steps sort of in the motion of my hands. So they agreed to send a requisition for an MRI, and what they said to me is that the hospital has slipped from its 4 to 5 week routine MRI exam, and it would be about 3.5 months. I was glad that at least it would happen. 2 days later, I had a phone call from my local hospital. It was the MRI booking employee. The radiologist had overruled the emergency department and made my MRI a priority. It's obvious that the radiologist would looked at my patient chart and saw what's been unfolding from the past few months and realized the urgency of the moment. That MRI was on January 7th. I got the results a week later, and there's a chance that I may have bone marrow cancer. The results of this was given to me by my orthopedic surgeon, and I trust him. And if someone had to tell me that I could have cancer, I'm really glad it was him. Now, there's a whole lot more to this than I could have cancer. These spots first showed up in my MRI in 2017. They were unchanged in 2019, and again in 2022 they remain the same. This time around, they look larger on the MRI, and the radiologist is just unsure of what to make of it. For bone marrow cancer, this is not the right test to have, and they simply cannot tell. If we break this sort of into pro and con, the pro side is that my right knee was imaged so soon after the knee gave out that this could simply be internal bleeding because of what's happened to the knee and how it's deteriorating. The con side is that my mother died from a rare form of leukemia that lined the bones, and this does mimic that. So here in Ontario, Canada, any healthcare treatment that's medically warranted, I have access to. So the next step will be undergoing the cancer screening. The past 3 weeks just have not gone well. My left knee, my left knee is now also in trouble. This is what happened to me when I was going through my hips. You know, the one joint gave out and then just the other one was right there at the same time. I have been through this before. So what I did today was put together just over a one-page summary of what I need, what's changed, a list of the date, time, locations of my other medical appointments, and just, 2 sentences of what happened at each appointment. Just enough of an overview that it would mean that an emergency department doctor could, slot into it and actually be helpful instead of solely being focused on me saying I'm in more pain. At this point, I want to get to the real issues, of course. So sometime this weekend, I'm hoping to go to the hospital. I have been thinking about this. If it's cancer, my white blood cell count would be out of whack. So I'm going to ask for a white blood cell test and then beg the emergency department doctor if they would escalate the cancer screening. My surgeon doesn't want to proceed with the hip replacement until the question of if I have cancer has been resolved. And if I do, that a hematologist tells him to proceed with my hip replacement where I'm likely to heal. I can't say that I disagree with it, but in the intern of this, I'm having to try to live through the challenges that this presents. So this is kind of where I find myself right now. Why I've not posted as much content this month is because I've needed to rest. I've been trying to take care of my body. I've done the best that I can, but it's not been easy. Um, Before I go, I do want to share that I've added another section to my website. I've been asking for input on activities that are enjoyable, and then I've been trying to have one post each day and rotate through. So in the link of the video will be where you could find this on my website. If you have any ideas that I could add to the database, I'm interested in knowing them. And I'm really hoping this will help make an impact on people's lives that are going through a hard time, especially when someone needs a bit of cheering up or encouragement. This is sort of the best that I've got for today. I had wanted to go down to the water today and share a video of it. I'll do this on the way to the hospital or on the way home, depending on how my body's doing. I've just run out of energy for today to get this online before the end of January. Okay, thank you for watching this video today. I appreciate the support. Have a good day. Bye for now.